What's poppin', y'all? The guy that was just in the running for Super Gangsta of the Year, it was between him and Lil TJ. Well, he just got arrested too. So a little bit of a short recap. All-Star JR, Detroit rapper. He was out there in Houston. He's in Houston. J Prince, Ben 10. There's some issues that's going on between J Prince Jr. And then some tussling gets to happening. They try to snatch his chain. They try to take his jewelry. Some gun falls. They're trying to jump him as well. He lets off shots. Ben 10 gets rained on. Another homie of Ben 10's gets his fingers blasted off. And then this guy gets away scot-free. Doesn't even look like there's a scratch on his face. Hops on Detroit and starts telling everybody to do the Ben 10. And people thought Ben 10 was dead. NBA Ben 10, very close. Well, this guy got arrested. And they said it was on his way to do a Vlad interview because there is a lot of important details that we got to go through in this report. And this is just unbelievable. Keep in mind, this guy's getting arrested by the feds. So he's getting a federal case, the FBI. So right here it says the criminal complaint. And it says the complaint in this case state the following is true to the best of my knowledge and belief. On about April 8th, 2026, in the county of Harris County in the Southern District of Texas, Harris County, I believe, is Houston, the defendant violated one felon in possession of a firearm because he's a felon and he's not supposed to have a firearm. But then the way we're thinking about it is, Doug, this guy was attacked. He's not allowed self-defense. Well, they've got something else to say about that. Because in the report, it says, a Detroit rapper accused of opening fire inside a Houston restaurant is now facing federal gun charges after investigators say that the incident was caught on surveillance video and followed by taunting social media posts. This is another important thing. Investigators and taunting social media posts. Keep in mind those two words because I'm going to come back to them a little bit later in the video. According to a criminal complaint, Jeremy Christopher Ford, also known as All-Star JR, is charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm. Investigators say the shooting happened around 11:23 p.m. on April 8th at a restaurant on Kirby Drive in Houston. When officers arrived, they found one person inside suffering from a gunshot wound to the neck and another in the parking garage with multiple gunshot wounds to the hand and leg. So were they chasing him or did the other guy just run away? And this is another thing. Keep in mind, these two people are separate from each other, but they had to have been in the same crew if they jumped All-Star JR. That's what leads to me potentially believing that Ben 10, despite whatever he's doing and eating and all of that, he may not be able to walk because they said a gunshot wound to the neck. If you get hit, depends where you got hit in the neck, but if you get hit in the neck, you might not be able to walk anymore. That's where your spinal cord is. And the other guy is, he had his hands shot off. So if that guy was in the parking garage, he was probably trying to skedaddle out of there. Well, if his homie was able to walk, he would have ran after him. Why would he just stay inside the place where the police are going to show up to? Especially if they were the perpetrators of the crime too. So that's another piece of detail that I think some people might gloss over. But both were taken to the hospital. Police say a trail of blood led from the dining area to the elevator and into the garage. So that's probably that guy running out of that restaurant. The non-Ben 10 guy. At the scene, officers recovered a Glock 43 handgun, a magazine, holster, and multiple spent shell casings and bullet fragments. According to investigators, surveillance video shows Ford inside the restaurant before a group approached him, leading to a confrontation. So he was the one that was confronted. During the altercation, authorities say several people appeared to grab his necklace and watch, escalating the situation. So right here, it looks like he's the victim. Again, at some point, a handgun fell to the floor during the fight. Investigators say, so they're saying a handgun. They didn't say whose handgun. They didn't say where it fell from, whose pocket it was in, nothing. So it could be his handgun. We don't know for sure. Investigators say Ford picked it up and began firing as people ran. One man collapsed after being shot, while others fled toward the elevator. Authorities say Ford continued firing, including additional shots in the direction of another person who was running away. This guy was reenacting the infamous Soulja Boy video when he said they ran down in his house. He's like, pow, pow, pow. That's what the way Soulja Boy narrated that story is what this guy actually lived, and we're hearing it from investigators. The complaint alleges Ford then returned to the injured man and fired additional rounds at close range while he was lying on the floor. And this is probably Ben 10, or most likely Ben 10. Investigators say he later pointed the gun again, but appeared to be out of ammunition. The court documents also alleges he struck the man with the handgun and spit on him before leaving. Yo, this guy... this guy has to be a super gangsta because we didn't get these details. We didn't get the details that he spit on him because I said he's in competition with Lil TJ. And Lil TJ, he got to busting shots at Offset, pulled up on him, and he's talking that talk when he got outside. But spitting on somebody, now TJ did spit on some security guard, and that's what got him banned from Madison Square Garden. But that's a different story. This is the same incident. Authorities say a third person, believed to be a bystander, was also shot but suffered non-life-threatening injuries. And I think the important thing here is that they're saying he returned to the injured man. So if the story is that JR was like, yo, I was in fear of my life, he let off all these shots, everybody's scurrying, running away, there's a guy on the floor, and then they're saying he's returning to the guy on the floor, and he's shooting at him again in close range. But he's out of ammunition. So I'm guessing that that's what saved Ben 10's life. He was going to kill the guy, which is really, really terrifying. But this is the thing. If that was the case, then wouldn't they give him another charge for attempted murder or something? Or maybe that would have been more difficult for the feds to prosecute. So they're just giving him the gun charge because it's an important detail that they're giving us, and they're giving it to us on purpose that, oh, yo, he went back to the guy to shoot at him. Hospital officials told investigators one of the injured victims had his finger amputated. That's not Ben 10, due to the gunshot wound, and suffered severe leg injuries. Another victim, as of April 15th, did not have feeling in his legs. We have not seen Ben 10 stand up yet. And I think that's why JR, when he was saying, do the Ben 10, he knew that this guy couldn't walk because he saw his friends running and he just saw him on the ground and he didn't get up and he saw that he was still alive. And I think that's when he went and stood over him and was going to end him right there. Investigators say Ford fled the scene in a white Cadillac Escalade before officers arrived. And then the affidavit also states that after the shooting, Ford allegedly posted multiple videos on social media appearing to taunt those involved. Investigators say he later released a music video referencing the shooting, including lyrics. We heard all of that. And they're talking about the prior felony conviction. And they've got surveillance and images that I'm showing on screen right now of this happening. You can see him standing over him and all that. And remember when I told you to remember the taunting earlier? Well, the only case that we can refer to, or the one that somewhat resembles this situation, is by the rapper Ugly God. So years ago, if you guys remember, something would come out that Ugly God had shot and killed somebody in Mississippi. And these are both down south states. So now Ugly God, he's not a felon, but I do think that this did contribute because what did Ugly God do? Ugly God didn't hop on social media and taunt about it. He didn't rap about it. He didn't do a whole challenge for it, offering people money. He didn't do any of these things. And what he actually did, with the fact that he was able to get away with it, if you want to call it that, on self-defense, was what he likely did. Like, I got people that told me this, is that when it happened, they explained the situation and they said, okay, this is shut. This was self-defense. Granted, in his situation, it seemed like it was just him and somebody else and maybe like family members. And this one is a little bit more chaotic. It's in a public place. There's other people involved. But I do think that All-Star JR taunting on social media, doing all of this stuff, made the federal government want to approach him even more. Like, these guys are clout chasers. Prosecutors, they're chasing clout too. I remember when they were trying to hit Youngboy with that whole Fed case, and that was like a whole disaster. They couldn't use certain footage from this SD card because it was like illegally searched, something like that. So that's just one example. But I thought that this guy, All-Star JR, had at least talked to the police. But according to Say Cheese, Sean Kine, he got referenced that he was on the run this entire time. And they picked him up when they're saying that he was on his way to a Vlad TV interview. And this just makes me think this guy is a lunatic. And somebody that has experience with him and has interviewed him, Say Cheese, Sean Kine, he declares that this guy is certainly a lunatic, and he was going back and forth with them personally a while back.
This is the same guy who came at me during COVID. Me and him was on the phone. Me and him was on the phone going at it. And it wasn't about him, it was about somebody else that he rocked with. But this dude, he's crazy. Look, I'm gonna tell y'all how crazy this dude is. Go to his Twitter and just scroll down. This is before he Ben 10 and them. This dude is a nutcase. He's a troll. He don't give a fuck about nobody. He get down on this and he just survived some shit. So he's the wrong to get a free one on, because he was going to troll for a long, long time. Like, he was going to make something out of this. He'd been rapping for a minute. T Grizzly, which is his right hand. He felt like owed him. He been in the game for a minute.
So this guy, All-Star JR, is nutty. And to be fair, people are going to say, oh, Vlad got him locked up. Let's be real here. This guy had just done an interview with some Detroit platform. He was probably going to go on a media run. To go on a media run, he was probably going to go to California. I mean, this is the feds. They've seen, I don't know if he drove there, if he flew there, but you know what they're doing? They don't even need to, this guy's a rapper. Okay, he's a rap figure. We know this is where Vlad TV films all their stuff. Just put a squad car there. Just leave him there. This guy's eventually going to show up. They could just wait a week. Really, you don't got to be the brightest to think that. You just wait, and eventually he's going to show up to Vlad's office, and they picked him up. Unfortunately for Vlad, he probably took an L on this. He might have paid a deposit or like half or some sort of amount. He definitely had to contract the people that were going to interview him, and he was probably rubbing his hands, doing the Birdman hand rub like, oh, I'm about to eat off of this one. And yeah, he got cucked by the FBI, unfortunately. But this guy's a lunatic. He might be cooked. Although there has to be people cooperating in this scenario. Another similar situation you could say was the Tax Stone one, where Troy Ave got to bussing inside because like Troy Ave picked up a gun and he walked out and he was busting shots. But that's New York versus Texas. Like these are two completely different jurisdictions. But I think that this guy taunting about it made things worse, and also not even speaking to the police. Like this guy has to be, did he just think he was going to go on the run? Because now he went on the run. Let's say whatever money he made via promo, via this song, all of that is now going to go to an expensive attorney that you're paying for. So really, anything that you benefited from the situation and gloating about it, which you didn't have to gloat about it right away. He could have just made sure everything was sorted with his lawyer and with the police in Houston, and then gotten the green light to say whatever he wanted. But in this case, now he has to pay all this money to a lawyer, and he's going to end up in the hole from this. So it's just such an unfortunate situation for this guy, All-Star Jerry. I feel like we're all on his side. Like this guy gets jumped and he fires off shot. He can reply however he wants. Honestly, if this happened to you, you would probably be like, I wish the guy was dead. I'm upset that he's alive and that I ran out of ammunition. You would have probably been looking up for another. Like if this guy went around looking for another gun to finish the job, we would have probably been like, listen, we're not saying we want people to die, but we understand his frustration. Like these people just try to jump you, attack you. You're just minding your own business. But there's a lot more details that we're going to get from this. And like I said, gangsta rappers, drill music, the genre died because of the government. That's the only reason why the genre died. Anybody that's getting busy, that's getting active, they're getting locked up and they're slapping them with any case. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. He might still be in the contention, of course, for Super Gangsta of the Year, but is he also in contention for Stupidest Rapper of the Year? Because you're talking about a situation and rapping about it that you're on the run for and didn't even talk to police. Yeah, let me know in the comments, and I'm going to see y'all in the next one.